Hello, my name is Shelly Ann Padmore, photographer with Lucent Light Photography, specializing in boudoir, portrait, and lifestyle. And it's been some time since I've posted. It's been quite a few months actually. And I was going to relaunch with a series on my expired film collection, which is quite vast. But then Polaroid announced this camera, the Polaroid I-2. Now, there's been a number of videos so far on usage. Some people have bought it so far. Some people have voiced some concerns. And after about, I would say, about a week of using this camera, I would like to touch on two main things. Who this camera is probably for, most likely. Second, the main issue that I find wrong with it. Okay, first things first. Who is this camera for? Bit of background. I have been shooting Polaroid steadily for a few years now. I am a person who is looking to shoot in a more artistic way, not so much for fun, but for more artistic expression. So my first instant camera, serious camera, was a Mint SLR SX70X because it allowed me to shoot with strobe and with a flash trigger. So when I discovered, if I had known, let me rephrase. If when I was looking for an instant camera, the Polaroid I-2 would have been available, I would have purchased this camera. Why? Because it allows me to shoot with a strobe. It has a flash port, a 2.5-inch flash port, so it allows me to do so. And it has all the controls. It's fully manual, so if I want to do a double exposure, I can do that. Whereas with the Mint SLR SX70X, you can't really do that with that. Also, this camera would allow me to shoot with I-type, I-type 600 and SX70 film. So it allows me to shoot all the film that Polaroid makes. Whereas without a battery backup, I can only shoot SX70 and 600 with this camera. Now, I have shot a lot of Polaroid film in the past 2 years or so. I mostly do a lot of portraiture with mine. So really, this camera is really for a person who takes it seriously. It's not for a casual shooter. If you're a casual shooter, I would really seriously recommend the Instax series of cameras. If you're a person who wants to maybe do a photo book, like so for example, I've shot models with it. I'm looking to do a photo book with Polaroid pictures, and one is hopefully coming up toward the end of the year. So really, this camera is made for someone like me. Limitations. There's been some grumblings online regarding the fact that you cannot remove the battery. Now, if you look at the Polaroid now, you look at all the Polaroid system cameras, you can't remove the battery from any one of them. If they were going to remove the battery from this, I think that would have required a design change. Right? So it's a design change and a functionality change. And I think that would have pushed the cost up maybe farther than they could have sold. Because you've got to look at what you can actually sell to people. So, and I don't know, it remains to be seen whether or not this camera completely die after 3 years. They've been making the cameras like this for years now. Has that been a problem? If it has been a problem, then that's a serious problem. And I think they would have considered that during the design stages. My main issue is the fact that the shutter speed taps out at 1/250th of a second. If you look at the mid series of cameras, a higher end mid cameras that shoot Instax film, the shutter speed taps out at 1/500, and then to countermand that, you have to shoot with filters in order to use the camera. Without it, it's unusable. So basically, if that's at a 1/500th of a second shutter speed, what happens at 1/250th? Here's the pictures I've shot of my backyard trying to shoot this at auto. So as you can see, it's overexposed, right? And the sun was behind me. Like I'm standing in the shade as much as possible. So you have to really play around with it. The upside is that at least Polaroid made sure that it had a 49mm filter ring that it could accept any filters that are made. So you can pick up a used 1 to 8 stop 49mm variable filter like I did from Burlington Film Camera. Shout out or Burlington Camera and Digital. And that way you can play around with that to see what you can get. But I highly recommend picking up an ND filter to use with it. I'm going to play around with that a little bit more. For me, let's just say, for example, Polaroid had gone the mint route and had sold proprietary filters that you must use with this camera, like they had with the Now Plus, I wouldn't have bought it. But the fact that they made sure that you could use any filter is a good thing. So that gives you options. So this is just an introduction. I'm going to show you some pictures I've taken with the double exposure feature, which I love with this camera, and also using a flash trigger. I hope that gives you a little bit of some of my initial thoughts with this camera. In part 2, we're going to go over how to use this with a flash trigger. So I'm hoping this has been informative, and if it has, please like, share, and subscribe. And it will be coming next Sunday. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this was informative. Thank you.